According to multiple surveys done by major news outlets, members of Generation Z are being described as entitled, pragmatic, self-deprecating, having a weird sense of humor, jaded, pessimistic, digital, global, social, mobile, visual, private, entrepreneurial, multitasking, hyper-aware, and technology-reliant. But why is that? What in our surroundings make us who we are as a generation? In today's presentation, I will be discussing the most influential factors on Generation Z. First, let's establish what it means to be in Generation Z. To be in Gen Z means that you are between 9 to 23 years old, or in other words, you were born in 1996 to 2010. This age range goes from elementary school students all the way to college students. Now that we've established who is part of Generation Z, let's start with the first influential factor, which is social media, and more specifically, memes. Generation Z is the first generation to never know what it's like to live in a world without the internet, so it's no surprise that it plays a big part in defining said generation. Memes are defined as an element of a culture or system of behavior that may be considered to be passed from one individual to another by non-genetic means, especially imitation. Or, in simple terms, memes are usually just used for self-expression, whether it be for a punchline, current events, or relatable memes. However, most importantly, memes are used as a form of communication between people, whether it be them sending it to each other to make one another laugh, or even fast food companies using memes to sell their products like Slim Jim or even Wendy's. Memes over time have shifted from being quite wholesome to
64 bits, 32 bits,
16 bits, 8 bits, 4 bits, 2 bits, 1 bit,
to that. When polling members of Generation X, Y, which is most commonly known as millennials, and Z, it was found that more than half the people polled believed Generation Z had the weirdest sense of humor. According to Scott Fogel, senior strategist at Firstborn, a design and tech company, he said that a lot of Gen Z's humor stems from a weird, unhinged sensibility. This unhinged sensibility can be seen in the large amount of abstract and random memes that flood most Generation Z members' phones. The second influential factor I'll be discussing is political conflicts. Generation Z's most defining moment between 1996 to 2010 would have to be the September 11th attacks, in which 2 planes hit the World Trade Center, 1 plane hit the Pentagon, and 1 landed in the field in Pennsylvania after the passengers fought the hijackers. Ever since then, Generation Z's era has been plagued with political conflict. This includes the War on Terror, the trial of Saddam Hussein, economic recessions, mass amounts of school shootings and the fight for gun control, the rise of ISIS, worries about climate change, tensions with North Korea, and divisive elections. According to Bloomberg, this has made Generation Z a more jaded or pessimistic generation, as every time they turn on the news, most big news stories cause anxiety within them. The third and final influential factor is the constantly changing culture surrounding them. According to GrowingLeaders.com, other generations such as Generation X and the baby boomers consider Generation Z the generation that always feels entitled to something. They believe this mostly because more and more of Generation Z is fighting for equal rights and opportunities, as well as Generation Z also fighting for what they believe is fair and just. During Generation Z's era of 1996 to 2010, the first black president was elected, the first smartphone was unveiled, Facebook was launched, and the power of new technology emerging has made members of Generation Z more able to speak their thoughts and feelings. Looking a little past Generation Z's era to 2015, all 50 states legalized gay marriage, in part because of Generation Z using the new technology and changing culture to make it more aware that people should deserve equal rights. Generation Z is also seen as more environmentally aware compared to past generations, and this can be contributed to the culture of America becoming more environmentally friendly. In addition, Generation Z is seen as a more united generation, and this can be contributed to how with all the new and improved technology coming out each year, it has been easier for members of Generation Z to express themselves to others. To recap, Generation Z is a generation like no other. Its quirky, offbeat sense of humor, pessimism, and hyper-awareness of one another's feelings is something that isn't seen as much in past generations. The reason why Generation Z is like this is because of its three most influential factors: social media and memes, political conflicts, and a changing culture. Thank you for listening.